libraries, music, right? You open your Serato or Recordbox or Virtual DJ, whatever it is, and you're like, oh, what a mess. Before I practice, let me first sort it out.
Bro, and this is what regular DJs, like normal people have problems with. So like just organization part in general. So somebody with ADHD dealing with this, I can just imagine how much, what must be going through your head.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Clever DJ. My name is Ilya.
And my name is Nino. How are you guys doing today? We're in our 6th episode, and we're very happy to share this one with you. This one hits a little close to home, so take it away, buddy.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about ADHD and how to not let it disrupt your DJing career. Now, whether it comes to practice, dealing with clients, or anything else to do in the DJ industry. And really, you can relate this to any other industry, I suppose, right? Mm-hmm. But we're going to talk about it, relating it to DJing specifically. But really, this works for pretty much anything else. Now, why Nino said it's close to home is because I actually have ADHD. Mm-hmm. And
no.
while it's... Yeah.
No, you don't.
While it's not full-blown 10 out of 10 ADHD, it's also not 1 out of 10. It's like, I would say, like, if I ever had to give it a number, it's like 5 or 6 out of 10. But again, depends on pressure, on stress in life. Yeah. It could be, some days could be more. Some months I think, I don't have it anymore because everything is just perfect. Now, some of you might wonder, how do you know for sure? So I'm 34 years old. I've been living with it my whole life. I know for a fact I have it. And then just to satisfy people around me, I went and got diagnosed at this facility just to be sure. They did all these tests to like find out how my attention span is. And honestly, I don't think they work. But they also, it was like, I could have answered it at 10 different ways. Like, how would that affect your test? But anyway, I guess that test is official. And I think I did it twice, actually, just to be sure.
Yeah?
And it was about the same.
Did it give you like score or something?
Yeah, and I remember that it was some sort of scale, and I was somewhere in the middle. Okay. So nothing crazy, but like definitely there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll tell you something cool about ADHD. It can be a nuisance or it can be a superpower. And the difference here is that if you know how to handle it, it will be a superpower. If you don't and you let it take over, it's a nuisance and it's going to really interrupt your life and people around you. Now, I think that over the last 4 years of my life, I really learned to take control of it. So I have enough knowledge, enough personal experience to talk about it. No, we're not medical professionals. This is all just personal experience. So anyone out there who's listening to us or watching us at home, in the car, or wherever you're tuning in from, just keep in mind that this is just my personal experience. So let's start. Let's dive right into it.
Dive.
When it comes to DJing, ADHD can be really disruptive because it can affect the way you practice, the way you organize yourself, the way you tackle the business, and just pretty much anything. So how do you not let it get in the way, and what really gets in the way? So number one would be, let's say you want to start practicing. You're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to practice after work tomorrow. Luckily for me, I work from home. So I can finish work, and then within 5 to 30 minutes, depending on what I want to do after work, I can really, without any excuses, start practicing. But sometimes I used to start, but I never got, like, I used to start the process of starting to practice, but I never got to the practicing itself because a lot of people would agree with me. Oh, you know what? Let me clean the house first. This is too messy. I can't concentrate like this. It's too much. or I need to run the dishwasher. I loaded it, I forgot to run it, or hey, I have a ton of laundry to do. Let me do those 3 things, and then I'll get to the practicing.
Really? That's tough, man.
That is just just insane on the level that you're like, you don't want to do those other 3 things. You want to do this, but
you have to do those.
They distract you
to get to,
because it's distracting, and if you try to ignore it, you're like, you're still thinking about it. So you're not really fully practicing the way you would practice. But hey, here's the thing. It's all about cognitive therapy. And full disclaimer, I never ever tried medication. I'm sure it works for a lot of people. I don't like what it does to you, the way it affects the brain. There's certain things I read about it. I'm not against medication or vaccination or anything like that. It helps people, I'm sure. I personally just don't like it. I chose to never do it. I believe that our brain is extremely powerful, and if we know how to direct ourselves correctly, then everything will work out. We have the power to change, and people do incredible things. So I think ADHD shouldn't be that hard to tackle, especially when it's not like 10 out of 10, full blown. So what I would do is force myself to not worry about the things that I feel like I should do, because logically it will be nicer to practice in a clean environment. It'll be nicer not to have those other tasks to do later. But then I will tell myself, Ilya, think about it this way. You'll practice for maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, maybe an hour and a half, right? It's 4:30 p.m. Maybe I worked overtime. It's 7 p.m. You can clean your apartment. You can wash your dishes. You can load the dishwasher. You can do the laundry. You can mail that box through Canada Post. You can do all that stuff after. And if you couldn't, it's not a big deal. You'll do it tomorrow. This is more important right now.
Yeah. And you just prioritize that and just do practicing first and then do everything else?
And that goes for everything, right? So like we said, we're going to be talking just about DJing, but that goes for everything. If you really reason with yourself and you do it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times,
but then
week after week,
isn't it reasoning with yourself? Isn't that in turn just going to make it harder because you're
reasoning with yourself in a healthy manner, knowing what's right. It's really hard to lie to yourself. Whenever you're in a tough situation in life, you almost always know what is the right thing to do. And usually the toughest thing to do is usually the right thing to do. And you just, people say, don't lie to yourself, because in most scenarios, you know what you need to do.
You know right and wrong. Yeah.
So, hey, if let's say practicing would take 7 hours, I'd be like, listen, I need to clean up because I have really important guests coming tomorrow.
Well, that's different.
Like, for example, right? But just think about it. What is the logic in doing those other tasks? Are they actually urgent? So you do that week after week, month after month, and you'll notice. If you have ADHD, you'll notice. And I told some friends I have that deal with this as well, and some of them have way more advanced ADHD than I do. And they honestly told me that it works. Some of them told me right away. Some of them a year later, they're like, oh, remember you had the chat with me and it really helped me. I just want to tell you, thank you. And I won't name them on here, but they know who they are. And on Reddit, I go on Reddit a lot and I speak to people with ADHD, with OCD, with anxiety. Sometimes those 3 come as a package.
Yeah.
So, and I tell them, hey, that's what I did. See if it helps you. And lots of upvotes, lots of thank you, lots of yes, I resonate with your comment. Clearly, I have experience in this and I know what I'm talking about. And a lot of this experience also comes from medical research, right? I did read some stuff, right? So it's kind of both. Now, this is just cognitive therapy, repetition, really doing the right thing and rewiring your brain.
Yeah.
So just to mention those things that people will really resonate with and say, yes, that is it. That's what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
So when it comes to physical and virtual organization, so whether it's cleaning the house, like I said, laundry, dishes, maybe hanging that photo that you said you'll hang a year ago, that's still sitting in the closet, or libraries, music, right? You open your Serato or Recordbox or Virtual DJ, whatever it is, and you're like, oh, what a mess. Before I practice, let me first sort it out.
Bro, and this is what regular DJs, like normal people have problems with. So like just organization part in general. So somebody with ADHD dealing with this, I can just imagine how much, what must be going through your head.
And let me actually, you said something very good. So people will say, oh, you know what? I think you're full of it. Normal people deal with the same stuff. I think you're just making up excuses to not do something. So let me tell you something about that. What I learned that's common to all of those mental, ADD, ADHD, OCD, like all those things, right? Is that it's the same stuff anyone could deal with. What your house might be messy and you would want to clean it up first, but then you'll be like, no, I'm DJing right now. I'm practicing.
Yeah.
So it won't affect you on that level. But a person with those conditions, like let's say ADHD, for example, it will drive them bananas. It will just drive them insane. Like, no, I got to do this first. I got to do this first. Right? And then one more thing they deal with, and I'll get to that actually. I'll get to that after this. I'll try not to be ADHD and actually focus on my point of the music first. And hey, this is a live example of what I was talking about. I stopped myself from having that other thought. No, I have to finish this thought first. I'm going to go to the other thought after. I'm not going to forget it. I made a mental note of what it was.
Okay, so you're actually thinking this while we're doing it.
Because it's still going to be there. It's a monkey on your back. It's still going to be there.
True. That's true.
But it doesn't bother me anymore. Right? I'm more aware of how I speak. I'm more aware of how I act.
I guess if you're more aware of it, there's something that you can do about it. Right?
Yes, exactly. And if you don't lie to yourself, you'll be fine.
Yeah. The people that lie to themselves, they have it, but they don't acknowledge it. Like, oh, I don't have ADHD.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Exactly. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to music, I am one great example, and I didn't even realize it was ADHD at first. I just thought I'm going through the process of learning how to DJ. It's important for me to figure out, my library first, because I took, you heard it before. I took so much music from this guy, from Nino here, over 100,000 tracks. Can you imagine 100,000 tracks?
Yeah.
More, I think it was like 150 something. I don't remember at this point.
Probably.
I counted it a couple of times. Then I downloaded some more. Then I have another DJ I worked with who's supported and taught me some cool things. He gave me another like 10,000 or 20,000 tracks. Couple 10,000s, yeah. And then I found some older like libraries where there are some people who were DJs who tried to teach me some stuff years ago before I really got into it. Another 5,000 to 6,000, 7,000 tracks. I put it all together. I was thinking, okay, I'm good. I'm good for any gig, but I couldn't really figure out what music is on there. I never organized it myself. I don't understand the logic of it.
Yeah, you gotta organize it yourself.
So I started messing with it and trying to figure out an order and everything. And then I realized what's the best thing to do. Scrap it all. You don't need it. Leave it aside, use it as your library at home until you figure out your style and your sound and everything, but don't carry it with you. It's too much. Come up with the top 100 tracks you think you're going to play, or the top 10 first, then the top 20, 30, and then build upon that. And then sure, your library will be a bit messy, but you'll do your first gig, your second gig, your third gig, and then suddenly your libraries will start organizing.
Getting bigger, you'll figure out what you like to play personally.
And that's how you build it.
It is.
And I was like, you know what? Anytime I'm going to have that notion of like, okay, I'm going to sit here for 7 hours and I'm going to, or a week, a few hours a day, and I'm going to organize this before I practice. No, don't do that.
It's not going to work, man.
So that's another thing that I was, telling myself, hey, you don't need to do this first. It's like, come on, it's not logical. It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't. Good job, man.
And you told me that too.
I did.
Yeah. So listen to people around you.
Listen
all right,
to your mentors.
listen to mentors, parents,
The people that have more experience than you. There's a reason why they're telling you what to do, because they want you not to make the same mistakes as them.
And if one person tells you something, fine, maybe they don't know. But when 2, 3, 4, or 5 people are telling you something, that's when they know. Right? That's when there's probably something you should look into. So yeah, I mean, you need to be aware of yourself and your mind, and things will just go well for you. I know, easier said than done, but it also wasn't done overnight. So, I mean, I could talk about it forever. Songs, libraries, effects, all that stuff. You're like, oh, maybe I should get this before I start. Get 10, 20, 30 tracks if you're a beginner. That's even too much. You probably need 5. 5 tracks to know how to transition every which way. And then you can get another 5. Then you can get a different genre and then see how you transition between those two. You don't need this whole mess in your library. So again, that's an excuse, not a reason. And that's the diagnosis there. You recognize that? If it's an excuse, not a reason, move on. And then this is how you help yourself.
Stop wasting time, man. Get down to what you got to do.
Another thing I noticed, and we started really long conversations online about this, also on other YouTube channels, was the philosophy behind things, the like romanticizing certain things. People with ADHD do it a lot. And that would be, for example, okay, before I even start DJing, before you even get to the practicing, before you even buy the gear, you're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to buy the gear, but first, let's see. What would be my DJ name? Because like I can't even start social media. Social media is important, but I don't know what name to start it under, right? Mm-hmm. And then they'll think, but what kind of DJ am I going to be? Well, but what genre am I going to play? What's my identity, right? And I dealt with those things too.
Yes, you did.
And not that long ago either, right? Mm-hmm. So
you'd ask me all the time. Like
I was wondering. I thought it was important, right?
What do you think my DJ name should be? I'm like, oh, just call yourself your name.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And while I wanted like this cool stage name or something, my name actually is not Canadian.
Martin Garrix.
Or so it actually, to me, it sounds regular. I love my name, but it sounds regular. But others are, oh, wow, that's cool. I haven't heard that before. So I like it. Who knows, it may change in the future, but that's the thing. Just be easygoing about it, right? I mean, we're not pros right now. At least some of us are not pros right now. We're not signed, to some huge label or anything like that. So it doesn't matter right now. It doesn't matter. Your name as a producer or a DJ, just create and learn.
Just be happy with what you have right now, and then you can change it later.
Yeah, get something generic or something that works for you. Maybe even your actual name, and then create everything under that. And usually you can also change it within those platforms. So again, that's one more thing that people think about a lot. The identity and the genre. That's, of course, it's important, but not important enough to just stump yourself and not do anything.
Not do anything. Yeah.
Play. Experience, figure it out as you go, right? What else did I write here? You say something. What do you think?
I think you shouldn't be wasting your time. Get right into it, man.
Yeah.
Like I like your name. Your regular name is fine.
Yeah, right? It sounds good. It's short.
It's short and sweet, right? And you want something like that.
It is sweet.
Very sweet. Very sweet.
So yeah, I guess these are 2 main points, and then some categories underneath them. I was going to say something earlier. I still remember what it was. People with ADHD tend to start a ton of projects and then not finish them. Do you know why they do that?
Why?
The dopamine rush.
No.
Like, oh, I want to feel good. You know what? You sit in class, like you're a kid, you're in high school, whatever, and you're studying math or whatever, right? And then you're thinking about one of your hobbies, let's say DJing, and you think about, you know what? I'm gonna I'm going to build this cool setup at home. Like you already have a setup now. I'm going to build this cool setup. It's going to be great. I'm going to post it on Reddit. It's going to be amazing. Okay. People are going to love it. I'm going to love it. And then let's say you start, and then, you know, you go to your dad's garage or something, you know, you start using his tools, and then you don't finish the job because it got boring and it got repetitive, and the dopamine rush is just like, the dopamine is just dropping, and it's not new and exciting anymore.
So is that what ADHD is? It's because you get bored very easily?
No, and I'm not going to get into specifics and anything like that, because again, I do not want to mislead people, but I'm talking about what I know. And it's just, you look for rushes, you look for something exciting, because it just, I guess,
and something new is
in some way
always exciting.
You get bored, and you need something to stimulate your brain. So let's say you started that project, then let's say you start another project. For example, you know what? I don't have a website. I'm going to start a website. I'm going to build a website. I'm going to like put a gallery on there.
There you go again.
Then, but for a gallery, I need like headshots and I need like videos. Okay, I'm going to hire a photographer. No, I'm going to learn how to take photos.
I'm going to be a photographer now.
And now you're starting that project. And you know, it sounds crazy, but it's extremely real. And you know what?
Yeah.
If you don't believe me, go on forums, go anywhere you want where there's people who are going to tell you the truth. And ask them, is this guy telling the truth? Does this guy know what he's talking about? And they'll tell you this is pretty much it.
Yeah.
So that dopamine rush, that let's do something new. Yes, this is a great idea. And then it gets repetitive, and then you got to learn how to do it. And then it's just, whatever.
It's not exciting anymore. It's just, you want the next dopamine rush.
Yeah. Like for example, like learning, I know a lot of people who started learning how to program program games. At first, it's really interesting. The first few lessons are super easy.
Yeah,
and you create this moving thing on the screen, and then it gets really technical, and then that's when you're like, what am I doing?
Because it's too much for you.
Yeah, it's not even if it's too much. It's not exciting anymore. That's it. It's stale.
Oh, I see.
Right. So that's that. Now, another thing is, maybe it's the last point we'll talk about, hyperfocus. You know, that's a very known term to people with ADHD. And you can focus on certain things, and on certain things you just can't focus.
Like,
and
what do you mean? Like,
maybe it's hard for you to focus at school or with a certain task in life, but then it's really easy for you to like play the guitar. You can play for hours and nobody will distract you.
So it's easy to focus on it if you like it, sort of thing. Yeah.
You know what? I don't know. There's so many things I can talk about when it comes to that.
I wouldn't focus in school either, so I kind of understand that.
Maybe you have ADHD.
Maybe I do. Maybe I do.
I just wanted to like honorable mentions. That's really what I'm doing right now. I'm not going to get into that in detail. But hey, you know what? I'm definitely sure we're going to speak about this again in another podcast.
This is a huge topic.
Yes. And another one, what was I going to say a second ago? I forget the term, but pretty much when it looks like you are extremely efficient because you're doing so much and you're so busy and you're a workaholic and you're look at how busy you are. You don't have ADHD. You're just an efficient businessman, an entrepreneur, right? Mm-hmm. But really, it's like 20, 30 tasks that are, when you look at them, it's a mess. You're not busy. You're disorganized.
Keeping yourself busy.
You're disorganized. You're unorganized. You're pretty much.
You think you're busy, but you're
focusing on too many things.
Yeah.
And you're not actually moving forward, and you're spreading yourself too thin.
I can see that.
Right? A lot of people with ADHD.
So that's why you never finish anything, because you're just focusing on so many things.
And that's kind of tying in with the other point I was talking about, the dopamine rush.
True.
Right? So, and it's so hard sometimes to pinpoint that. You think you're doing the right thing. You're trying to be efficient. You're trying to learn and to act on certain thoughts you have, thinking that that's going to get you through this goal. But once again, if you take a step back and analyze your day or analyze the past few hours and think about the thoughts you had, the ideas you had. When something gets a little big, you know, when you decide to do something that's going to take more than a few hours, think to yourself, is this what I need to do today or this month or overall? Do I have time for this task right now?
Is this leading to my goal?
That's what I was going to say next. Exactly. Is this going to contribute to what I'm doing?
Exactly, yeah.
And if it is this really the right time to do it?
Yeah.
Right? Am I just doing this because it's interesting to me right now or because it's necessary? Right? So
I guess you do have to see it like that.
Yeah, and there's so many more things we can talk about when it comes to this topic. And you know what? I really hope that you enjoy this topic.
Yeah, I hope you guys learned something from him because his experience is just like he's leaving his heart out on his sleeve, right?
So wearing my heart on my sleeve.
Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, I know you didn't get to speak a lot because
no, it's fine.
It was more like my perspective on this. But it was nice. It was nice to answer some questions. And again, we'll do this again. The information will be on our below the video.
Below,
yeah, in the description. And on our website, we'll link to interesting resources. And yeah, until next time, guys.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
The Clever DJ with Ilya
and Nino.
Thank you very much for tuning in with us.
Later.